on the train.
What you eating, Birdie? What's up, Robbie? Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking you to Gatorland. That's right, you heard me. We just recently went to Orlando and I wanted to showcase to you what is Gatorland and is it a fun thing to do with your kids. I love the fact when we entered the park or just the parking area, they had signs saying that parking is free. I think that's sort of a nod to the fact that in the Orlando area, in all the other parks, you have to pay for parking like Universal and Disney, and here parking is free. They of course did it in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way and said that it's free only today, but the sign is permanent. So in terms of the cost of entering the park, everyone gets these wristbands if you also decide to take the train, but the day pass for an adult is $32.99. For a child aged 3 to 12 it's $22.99, and for seniors 60 plus it's $31.98, so not much of a discount there. Children 2 and under are always free, and then if you do choose to purchase online, it's actually $3 off the ticket. You also had to, or we paid extra to go on the trolley, which I believe was $2 or $3 per person, so we decided to do that as well.
I laughed at the jokes you made. I wish that I hadn't, 'cause now the joke's on me. I didn't come here just so I could watch you make a mess. I didn't come here to ugly.
These guys are gonna find and compete for a job right here at Gatorland. So y'all ready to meet them? Yes! There's like 4 people. All right, I'm gonna go. Good, bring it in some, man.
Adore me, adore me. Go ahead now.
All right, so my family did the Gator Jumperoo show, the up close encounter shows. We did all the shows that we could have during the time that we were there, and they were fantastic. They were funny. They had jokes for adults and kids. It was full of like trivia. I think the person who wrote the script to Gatorland shows should get some kind of award. Honestly, it was just so well written. The jokes were, like I said, funny, a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff. They tried to get as much audience participation as possible. And I have 2 girls, and in all honesty, they're like a little bit squeamish about snakes and alligators. And they were scared at first when we entered the park. And they were just like not super excited. I think I was much more excited than they were, to be honest. But at the end of it, they were like, wow, mommy, like, look at this white alligator, and it had pink eyes and blue eyes, and they just came out with a lot of knowledge, which was kind of interesting that they were just, because they were exposed to it all day, they sort of lost that fear of these animals and just became a lot more curious about that and snakes and everything like that. So that was something that I would definitely recommend. Just take a look at the schedule and make sure you're there 5-10 minutes early to grab a seat and, you know, participate as much as you can in the show.
Birdie? Sure know how to drink. Came to the party.
Yeah, he has a black tongue. I don't know.
Now the joke's on me. I didn't come here just so I could watch you make a mess. I didn't come here to ugly cry in my favorite dress. So what the hell were you thinking then when you kissed your lips? Now I'm kinda glad you did. 'Cause now you
So in terms of Gatorland, it is 110 acres and it's also a wildlife preserve. What I liked about it was, again, the way that everything was written was done in a really interesting way. The attractions in the park include, there's a breeding marsh and there's a boardwalk. I loved this boardwalk. It was such an interesting walk. There's an observation tower. There's zip lines, which do cost extra. There's an off-road swamp vehicle tour. There's an aviary, a petting zoo, and the educational programs, which I mentioned before. I thought it was also kind of interesting that it is family owned. which I thought was kind of cool in terms of the history. And what I also liked about this whole park is that it's known for buying and rescuing like nuisance alligators from trappers that would otherwise be killed. So I thought that was kind of interesting in that regard, that they also make sure that they're rescuing a lot of alligators. And they had a whole section with white alligators, which I've never seen before. And for me, it was really interesting to see that they have either blue or like pink eyes. And there's a legend that if you look into the blue eyes of an alligator, you're going to have good luck for the year or something like that. So I thought that was really interesting. And in general, I thought that I don't know. I was just so impressed with the amount of knowledge that I gained about alligators. My husband's from Florida. I grew up in Canada, so we had barely any like information about alligators and crocodiles. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. There's also an albino alligator, and we were able to take a look at all of those.
Right? You know what? Come on down.
We got a problem.
What?
It's if you guys see anything on the bleachers, just shout.
Yeah. How do you want to do this? No. And perfect.
What the heck?
You got it. Guys, does anybody know what kind of snake they're holding?
So the Gatorland was founded 74 years ago by this private family that I mentioned, and they also call this like the alligator capital of the world. It also does include crocodiles, and they did tell me, of course, what the difference is between a crocodile and an alligator, and I, of course, forgot, so here we are. But we're entering this breeding marsh area and the walking marsh area, which for me looks similar, but I wanted to let you know this fun fact that it was used for filming in the 1984 Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom movie, which I thought was really, really cool. If you're an Indiana Jones fan like me, then yeah. During this walk, though, please be careful, and there are signs warning you everywhere that this is like true wildlife. Be careful, be aware of your surroundings, because we did see a snake swimming in the water, and it looked like a moccasin snake to us, but of course we're not experts, but so yeah, just be careful when walking there, especially with your little kids. Shout out to the people who make their merch, because there's some really cool t-shirts. The ones that I liked were obviously the most expensive. I was so mad, but we weren't really prepared to pay that much for Gatorland merch. Maybe next time, if it's in the budget, I'll splurge and get myself a t-shirt. And then we headed over to the train, and the train actually has a lot of interesting facts about it too. So the Gatorland Express, or it's called like the Iron Horse Express, was one of the it first opened in 1961, and it's supposedly the first amusement attraction in Central Florida. The original locomotive is still there. It was retired in the year 2000, and it's put on display, and you can take pictures with it. It looks really cool, and just in general, the ride was fun. They had a whole storyline that you're supposed to look for Bigfoot in the forest, which we actually found, but you're able to sort of just drive around the park in the train, which if you have small kids, it's like a whole thing for them anyway. Take a look at all the other animals that are there. There's a few cows and stuff, and just take a look at that. And the conductor was super nice, super pleasant. He made a lot of interesting jokes during the ride and just made it super fun.
I laughed at the jokes you made. I wish that I hadn't, 'cause now the jokes are made. I didn't come here just so I could watch you make a mess. I didn't come here to cry my favorite.
Okay, if I could nitpick about anything, it was the fact that there wasn't really any super healthy options for kids. It was like chicken nuggets and fries. There was this wrap with ham and cheese. The burger was okay, the tenders were okay, the fries were fresh, and you could get fries or chips also fresh. They had strawberry lemonade, which is really good, and regular lemonade, but the food options weren't anything that were like super amazing. Wow, and they were theme park prices. So again, not like the best meal I've ever had, but definitely not the worst. So if that was my one complaint of the day, it would be that maybe they could have a little bit better of options. And then last thing, when you exit Gatorland, you head into the shop with lots of t-shirts, books, stuffed animals, bath bombs even we saw. So a huge variety of different things. I gotta say, I love the t-shirts, like I already said. They had lots of America-made products, which I thought was also really cool and something that I noticed. In general, just some of the toys I wanted to get them for my kids. Thank goodness I had some self-control, but most of the time they were really, really cool. Oh, look at that owl. What? Yeah. I think one of the most iconic things in Gatorland is the entrance, and just so you know, when you enter, you walk by this gator head, and that used to be the actual entrance. But in 2006, there was a fire, and they had to rebuild the gift shop and the main offices. So they incorporated the alligator mouth once they reopened it. But yeah, so it's sort of beside, it's not the actual entrance, but this alligator mouth used to be the entrance, which is really cool. My husband is a alumni of UF, so you can see him do the gator thing. That's just his vibe. Here we are, and that's why we travel a lot to Florida, and I'm so happy that I could share with you my honest reviews of these places. If I would highly recommend Gatorland. I had a really good time. The price is a lot less than all the other parks in the area. Again, I said my family had lots of fun. It's just a good time. The staff are really friendly. The shows are really interesting and funny, like I said. So if you are in the Orlando area and you have a chance to go, I really recommend it. If you've been to Gatorland before and we missed something, please let me know in the comments section below. And if you are going to check out Gatorland because of this review, definitely let me know. And it just gives me more motivation to keep making these videos for you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!